I couldn't get in because they kept ignoring my emails, and I was phoning and emailing and contacting. And I begged them for 6 months, please, please let me on your show. Please let me be a part of it. And eventually, in the 6 months, they contacted me reluctantly, but they said, oh, okay, come and try for a screen test. And they were gobsmacked. And that wasn't live, it was just a screen test, but they were absolutely gobsmacked and said, right, back in the studio in 2 weeks' time and we'll have you back.
Hi, welcome back to Soul Awakenings with Madiha Sosan podcast. Today we have a special guest and her name is Yvonne Cobb. Hi, Yvonne.
Oh my God.
Hello. I met you at Business Summit? Networking event. Yeah, it was. And you...
Yeah, it was a few months ago, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, you were giving a talk on food. I can't remember the title of the food. Can you remind me?
Yes, we were talking about don't waste food, about like how to save the environment and climate change and things like that. It was a really good lecture, a really good talk. It wasn't particularly a deaf event, it was for everybody, and I was really happy to be the first deaf person to ask to be taught there, and that's where I met you.
Yeah, I know, and I was just sat there, I was just so incredibly inspired by you. It was just incredible, your confidence, the way you were maneuvering and talking about all this knowledge that was coming out was just absolutely incredible. And I was like, I went straight to your interpreter and said to him, can I fist bump her?
Yeah. Why do you have to use your interpreter's permission?
I didn't know how to do it. It was like, I can ask him.
Yeah, and that's what happens when hearing people meet a deaf person for the first time. They don't ask directly to the deaf person, they'll ask the interpreter, and that happens a lot, actually.
Yeah. So
So I don't know why people are frightened of deaf people, or they're not sure if you'll understand me or I'll understand you, maybe. Is that what it is?
Yeah, my thought process was that I'm not going to understand, you're not going to understand me, and I'm not going to understand you, so I'll go straight to the interpreter. So it's like, hi, can you help me?
Yeah, of course.
Right, so to start off with, can you tell our listeners who you are?
Yes, so I'm Yvonne Cobb. And I am a profoundly deaf BSL user. I'm proud to be the first deaf presenter on primetime TV. And I've noticed that there's not many deaf people who are on television who actually use sign language. They would generally use deaf people who are oral. And I love that environment, and I love being able to work in that environment. So for many years, I was a teacher. 25 years actually. I was training and assessing for sign language, so very, very used to standing in front of people, and that's where I've got the confidence from to be able to do that, really. And I love to cook. Absolutely love to cook.
Amazing. Like this is incredible. The achievements that you have right now is like it's incredible, because like I've never met, like I said, I've never met anybody who's this isn't actually a disability, is it? It's actually who you are. It's positives to it.
Yeah, and I think it depends on the person, to be honest with you. You know, in the hearing world, some people have confidence, some people don't, and that's the same in the deaf community. You know, there's a mixture of people. Some people are very confident. I am a very confident person. Now, but I was very quiet when I was growing up. I was quite reserved when I was younger, very quiet. And all my family are deaf, and my mum is a fantastic role model, really somebody to look up to and learn from. And as I got older, I learned from her, and I also went to a deaf boarding school. And so that was me living away from home from quite a young age, where you kind of have to learn to kind of fend for yourself, I suppose. And that again gave me confidence, and that's built. So it's been up and down over the years, but I think by the time I left school and I'd, experienced all of these things, I went to work abroad as well. So I worked in America for a year when I was in my 20s, about 20. So all of these things have helped me kind of transition into the person I am today.
Oh, that is just incredible. Let's talk more about your childhood. You say that, obviously there were some challenges, and what were those challenges that you faced?
Oh yeah, the challenges. So I think, well, for the deaf community, you kind of have to work doubly hard to fit into a hearing society. So like for other hearing people, you're looking for work and it's quite an easy task to go into a job. But for me, for other deaf people, it's a lot more difficult. So I've been involved in the programme on ITV for This Morning about 2 years ago. In 2021, I was on that. And I had a dream I would be in that programme. I did, I dreamt, but I couldn't get in because they kept ignoring my emails, and I was phoning and emailing and contacting. And I begged them for 6 months, please, please let me on your show. Please let me be a part of it. And eventually, in the 6 months, they contacted me reluctantly, but they said, oh, okay, come and try for a screen test. And they were gobsmacked. And that wasn't live, it was just a screen test, but they were absolutely gobsmacked and said, right, back in the studio in 2 weeks' time and we'll have you back. And that just kind of blew up from there. And I couldn't believe, like, for the deaf community, I'm going a little bit off point, but you're talking about challenges. But that was a real challenge for me, where you've got to work hard and you've got to believe and you've got to keep going. And I'm very fortunate because I have a lot of support from my family. And that keeps me strong and motivated. And I have a really good network of friends as well. I'm really lucky to have friends and peers. So that's kind of been my journey, really.
Yeah, and I think like it's really important to have those friendships and your circle of support when sometimes you feel a little bit different, and you feel a little bit out of, like, you don't fit in society. Everybody's a certain way, but you are a certain way.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah. I remember a story I always tell. When I was probably about 21, 22, and I got a bursary. And at that time I was starting my own business. So I started the business, and it was like a group of people on this course, and everybody had got the same bursary. We'd all got the bursary, and everybody had a disability, but I was the only deaf person. Everybody had a different disability. And when we were they were obviously all talking to each other, but I didn't kind of fit in, even though we were all there with disabilities. I had an interpreter, but they kind of didn't know how to talk to me. And I felt more disabled than them actually in that situation. So I had to take my shoe off and bang it on the table. I had heels on at the time. Banged it on the table, and everybody looked at me and like, what on earth is Yvonne doing banging her shoes on the table? But it got their attention. And I was like, please include me. And after that, it was smooth, and they respected me for doing that. So that's really important, that you don't kind of think, I'm not belonging. You've got to do what you've got to do to fit in. And it might sound crazy, but I think when you've got a communication need, it can be more challenging than a disability. And I'm not taking away from other disabilities. Of course, they've got their own challenges, but obviously deafness communication is a barrier as well.
Yeah, and I'm so happy that you stood up and it's like, this is what I want and this is what I need, provide it. Right?
Yeah, now I look back and I think, oh my God, how did I have the goal to do that? But yeah.
Well, that was you. That was the start of you. If you were in that position, you're going to be in the TV. You're going to knock on people's doors and say, this is who I am. Right? Yeah.
Exactly. And I think, life can be funny, can't it? I remember when I was at college, and I was doing my diploma at college, and I had to give a presentation about food. And I remember this so clearly. And I never thought that this would that would be kind of the pinnacle of the journey, and it would lead me to where I am now. And, so when you've got a young person and they've kind of they're at a starting point, you just got to understand that that's the start of their future. And you might take a windy path and a windy road, but I think sometimes it always links back to what you've got naturally. And I really believe that. I believe that life is funny and it takes you through different chapters to lead you to where you're meant to be. I've got 3 children, and they're all grown up. All of my children are over 20, and I've learned so much from them, from my 3 children, from when they were, from when they were young, and because they're younger than me. And also, I've learned from my parents and my husband. We learn from each other, but I think we all keep on learning. And I think it's so important to just be open and receptacle to keep learning.
Oh, 100%. Like, when I was younger, I've faced a lot of adversity myself. Like, I've been caring for my mom for 20 years and I'm still caring. She's still alive. And there was that spark in me always, even when I was in home, kind of caged in the severe anxiety. There was that spark that I'm going to do something special. I just knew it. But I had this anxiety in the surface that I needed to kind of maneuver and process and get to where I need to be. So that spark never dies. It's just your circumstances and environment.
Yeah, it is really important to keep it going. Sometimes it dimmers and maybe it can feel like it's going out, but you've got to kind of rekindle it and keep going. It's so important. You're absolutely right. I was explaining about my life story and how the path I've taken and how it was winding a little bit, but I've always been very grounded and very rooted. I've had a really decent upbringing. My family's been very influential, and my mum's a strong person. She's always tried to challenge me and tell me to challenge myself. And I'm going to be 50, I'm approaching 50 this year. And I think it's a really important year for me this year. It is a milestone. It's a real milestone. And I'm doing a lot of reflecting at the moment and thinking, I've had 30 years of a career so far, and potentially I've got another 20 years to go. So, because I'm going to retire at 70, maybe, I don't know, hope so, we'll see. But, I'm doing a lot of reflecting and a lot of thinking about the different chapters that I've been through. When I was about 45, I was really confused about who I was. I was confused about where I was heading to next. And I had some therapy then, and that really, really helped me a lot to kind of work that out.
It's quite interesting. So many people from 40 onwards go through, they say, midlife crisis. But what I say is actually your awakening to your true self.
Definitely. And I think it's linked to a lot, there's a lot to talk about talking in the deaf community, who are, a lot of women in the deaf community are very confused about being perimenopausal, and about the menopause, and they're very, very different. The menopause is just the end of the journey, but the perimenopausal is kind of the journey towards the menopause. And I'm trying to teach deaf women to be more receptive to it and more aware of it. And it's a bit like a second springing, really, a second coming. In Japan and China, they genuinely believe that it is called a second springing, but the West view is a very negative view of perimenopausal and think, oh, that's it, everything's downhill. But it's not. And when I turned 45, my body definitely started to change and it started to show evidence of being perimenopausal. And then when I decided to do some research, I realised, there was no information in BSL for deaf people about this. There was nothing, which was appalling. So I really kind of worked and strived to support deaf women who are going through that. I'm a big advocate of that.
Hey there, healers, wellness warriors, and holistic fans. Exciting news. We've just teamed up with Listening to Smile, a company all about healing through music. Imagine listening to music that doesn't just sound good, but actually makes you feel better. Now, here's the deal. Just listening to that music for 20 minutes a day could make a huge difference to your mind, body, and soul. And guess what? You get 20% off their awesome albums with the code Soul Awakenings. But wait, there's more. Want to improve your practice, earn more, and keep your work safe? Then this program is for you. It's all about opening up new possibilities and protecting what you create. So, are you ready to get started? Head over to their website, www.listeningtosmile.com, and let's begin your journey to feeling great. Don't forget to use the code Soul Awakenings to save 20% at checkout. All of these links and the code will be added to the description below. Let's awaken those souls together. So what is their biggest worry in regards to menopause?
Well, I think mainly it's access to information. So a question to you, if you wanted to learn something new, how would you learn? Where would you get the information from?
Internet, Google.
Yeah. So the internet is all written in English, right?
Yeah. And
So other ways you might find information out?
Through friends, family.
Yep, so friends and family. So deaf women do have friends, but other deaf women who are relying on each other, and maybe they don't have the information to share that. So there's two barriers already, because written English is not easy for deaf people to access. And deaf women who use BSL means their first language is not English. Their first language is sign language, and that's their own language. So it's not that it's lower than English, it's just a different form of communication, you know. But it does mean then that if deaf people are trying to access English, that's not easy for them to do. So a lot of the resources for the menopause, a lot of the information is all written English. It's not there for deaf people to access. So how would they access that information? How do they learn about that? And it's the same with other subjects. Time and time again, it's the same with other subjects. So my worry is that deaf women are behind with information. And over the last maybe since lockdown, I would say for 2 or 3 years, I've been running webinars and different things. I'm really kind of banging the drum. I mean, I'm not qualified to do it, but I know plenty of information to be able to share that with deaf women. And they have been amazed and really soaked this learning in and really kind of taking it and trying to understand. So even things like talking about hormones or estrogen or all of these terminology, they don't understand what that means. And I've been trying to kind of teach them that and feed them that information.
Oh, that's just incredible, because it sounds like the people reading English and communications is so difficult already as it is, and you're behind on what's happening to your body. You don't understand what's happening to your body.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's really, really confusing. And some people have symptoms that are linked to perimenopausal, but they think they're depressed, and actually it's separate. It's not depression, or they're being, you know, kind of given antidepressant tablets, and it's maybe they need HRT, or maybe they need to change the lifestyle or change the diet. Another example, one lady, deaf lady I was talking to, she didn't know what avocado was.
Really?
She didn't know what an avocado was, and I was like, it's a really good healthy food, it's got healthy fats in it. And we need to eat more good fats through the menopause. So it's really important to kind of access things like that. And it was kind of the avocado and the good fats and the healthy fats will feed the hormones. So eat more green vegetables, eat butternut squash. But they didn't know what all of these things were. And I was horrified that they were missing out on all of this information, that they didn't know these sources of food can help them and support them. And that's what deaf people do. They miss out on information.
Which is, oh wow, like again, you know cookery, you're talking about menopause, you're talking about everything, all the important topics really. Let's talk about we talked about certain challenges within the deaf community. What are the main challenges that most people kind of complain about or talk about? Yeah.
Deaf people.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think lack of good interpreters is definitely the first thing. There's it is a big growing issue. So we have a community of deaf people, and maybe they want a career or a job, but the barriers are there because there's not enough interpreters for them to access the workplace. And that is a growing concern for a lot of deaf people. Now we have more interpreters who work online. And we also have relay interpreters, which means so it's a relay service. So if I was making a call, I might sign to the interpreter on the screen, and they would voice that over to you. So as it's happening now, but on the screen, like we're doing face to face right now, we've got an interpreter here today, but sometimes you can do that through the screen. But it can take weeks and weeks to book an interpreter, especially if you want a good quality interpreter. But one of the good news, well, a piece of good news is that next year, next year in 2025, we will be introducing BSL in GCSE on the curriculum.
Really?
Yeah, so that's going to be rolled out in schools next year in September, and that's a massive thing for the deaf community. It might be delayed a little bit, but the hope is that it will be rolled out next year. And that means that hearing children, not just deaf children, but hearing children will have access to learning BSL. And then that'll really kind of support hearing children to learn and feel more comfortable talking to deaf people and communicating with a deaf person, which makes life easier. In the future, I'm hoping, and also employers will be more aware. So imagine if you'd have learned BSL in school, you'll probably feel, you said this morning you felt a bit nervous about how to kind of communicate with me this morning, but if you'd have done that then, you would feel completely differently, would you think?
Yeah, 100%, because then I know what to say to you, and I wouldn't be worried about, oh my God, like if I made a mistake or anything like that. So, and again, it's even the people who don't know the sign languages, the barrier is uncomfortable. They feel uncomfortable. Like I don't want to offend you.
I get that completely. And it happened with the BBC on Morning Live, the BBC Morning Live team. They've been so supportive. They've really, really looked after me. We've worked together. And I know some of them have said, I don't want to offend you. I don't want to say it. And I'm like, oh, come on, we're all adults. Let's just go with it. We tease each other. We wind each other up. It's just the same as you guys do, especially Gethin Jones. He tries to sign and he's learning and stuff. But and he's learned fast. He has learned quite fast, but some of them don't learn fast. But it depends on the person, Some people get it, some people don't,
Yeah. Which is, So that we've got to create that, they've got to close that gap between deaf people and normal society. And not to worry about, oh my God, if I offend them and if they don't understand me. Because I feel like a lot of people, deep core, is that a lot of people are fearful of maybe like a little bit of rejection. It's like, oh my God, if I find you, that means I'm a bad person.
Yeah, no, I get it. I do get it. But it's not only the signing, it's also the culture. So in the deaf community, we have a really rich, beautiful culture. So whenever you meet any other deaf person in the world, we instantly understand each other because the culture's there. It's really hard to explain, but it's kind of like a shared culture where you just know how to make communication. It's a bit like a secret code, really, deaf to deaf, Hearing people will never understand it. But we look at ourselves like a minority group rather than having a disability. So we're a minority group, and within that minority group, we've got a lot of support and culture there.
Yeah, which is incredible. I'm still very much, I can't believe you're here and talking to me about all your life.
Are you up for learning a bit of signing?
Yes, can you teach me?
Right. Okay. So this is raw. So I know you don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to sign first. The interpreter's voice is going to turn off and see if you can pick up the sign, okay? and then we'll do it with a voice after.
I'm okay.
Oh, what did I say though? What did I say? What am I asking you?
I'm okay.
So I'm saying, how are you?
Oh, right. I was like, I'm okay.
That's why I thought you were responding. You were responding. Yeah. Good response, but that's not what I said. So I'm asking, how are you? So it's from the chest because it's linked to emotions. So anything that's linked to emotions is from the chest and the heart area, and then into the thumbs, and then you would respond with, I'm okay. I'm okay. So you asked me, how are you? There you go. Yeah, I'm okay.
And then you're like, I'm okay. So it has to be one hand with I'm okay?
Oh, you can do it both if you want. I'm okay, I'm okay. Either way, sign language is really fluid and flexible. It's all about the facial expressions, and you use your facial expressions and your body language to convey the emotion. So let me give you an example. If you're saying don't like, right? This is a sign for don't like. So you sign it, you're shaking your head from side to side. You couldn't say, I don't like, and keep your head still. You need to add the action to the head movement and the facial expressions to show that's what you're saying. I don't like it. You can see it in the face. Try it. Try it with your hands. Don't like. That's it. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. I don't like. And you frow your burrow. You're kind of really showing on your face that I don't like it. So you're doing three things at the same time. You're doing the sign, which is this. You're frowning your burrow. You're shaking your head. There's a lot going on. And over time, you kind of get used to doing that. And then if you really don't like something, well, you've got to show it more in your face, and your movement's quicker. So that's sign language, and that's how we would show the tone and the intonation and the feeling. And one of my favourites that I use in cooking. So if I'm cooking something amazing, I'll do this sign. So think of the tongue coming out of the mouth. Yeah. And this means, oh my God, that's amazing. It's delicious. Oh. So I'm not using the mouth movement this time. I'm using the tongue. So some signs won't have a lip pattern and some signs will. I mean, I could talk all day about sign language, but it's really good to just kind of give a few tips. So you can do a sign and then, try. So for one sign in English, you could say 3 or 4 or 5 words. We can do that in one sign. So at the moment, you can see there's some signs that I'm doing and they're really brief, and the interpreter's still talking afterwards because she's trying to match it in English, what I'm saying, like this, for example. And it really is fascinating.
Oh, that's amazing. I want to learn now.
One more. Give me one more. So this is a podcast. So we're having a conversation. So this is a sign for podcast.
So that's a sign for conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, cool.
Conversation, podcast.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, that's incredible. I mean, you're so bubbly and energetic. It just inspires me so much. Like, how do you stay so positive?
Well, I'm just being me. This is who I am. Of course, I have days when I'm not feeling so positive and I'm a bit tired, or I'm not embarrassed to say if I'm not really feeling it. But what I do have is try to have some strategies to deal with. I am an extrovert and an introvert at the same time, and I didn't know, what that meant a few years ago, but my therapist taught to me and did say you can be both. I wasn't sure what I was, where I fitted, but, I never realised you can be both an introvert and an extrovert until I had this therapy. And that's kind of helped me to stay quite bubbly and upbeat. So sometimes people take themselves a bit too seriously. And they're thinking, oh, what if, overthinking all the time. And the therapist taught me to be here, be now, be in the present, try to laugh things off, try to, stop being so serious all the time and reduce that. I mean, it takes skill and it takes time, but these are strategies that I use, and that kind of makes me a stronger person and makes me who I am today. And I've learned a lot, and I'm really grateful from everything I've learned in the past. I'm grateful for things like being able to do this. Oh, and the other thing I should mention is I also do a lot of journaling. I always journal. Do you do the same?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. I journal, I meditate, yoga. I do everything, but I go in schools actually. We deliver workshops? So we have a 6-week program that we teach children how to emotionally regulate their emotions. So you would not believe how many kids say that all bad, like all sadness, anger, frustration is a bad emotion. So many kids say that, but we go in and teach them that it's all emotions are good emotions. You have to process them, learn how to process it. How do you journal? How do you sit with your emotions? When I do my live talks, I teach them how do you kind of ground yourself in those emotions, because all the trauma that so many people go through, it stays inside of your body. So body keeps the score, right? And so I had to, even in my own personal journey, I had to sit with those emotions, with those trauma, those uncomfortable feelings. A lot of stuff came up in regards to my dad, when my dad passed away, and then I became a carer. And all of those emotions I was numbing and pushing aside. And it was you see me as my bubbly, energetic one itself right now. I wasn't that at all. I was completely the opposite. And then when I sat with those emotions, to release those emotions and trauma every day for 2 years, I sat there and I was like, what emotion am I going to look into? What trauma am I going to look into? And it just popped up one by one, to a point it became so normal that I need to cry about a certain thing. And then I get up and go and play badminton.
Finished now. Exactly, yeah. It's like some people are embarrassed to cry and think, if you're feeling that, it's a negative thing. But actually, you need to have a cry, Don't be ashamed of it. I think it's so hard for young people because they've got these kind of two emotions. They feel good or they don't feel good, but they kind of forget about everything that's in between. And both of those are fine. It's not the end of the world if you're having a bad day. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, and also in the society as well, everything's do and not sit and reflect. And that's why the emotions can't come out.
Oh God, yeah. And I think that's linked to what I was saying before about learning to love from my children. They're the most soulful people that I know, all three of them, but especially my son. He's nearly 21 and he's just so chilled, but he does have some anxieties, but he kind of gets them out and then goes back to being chilled. And before that, he was very, very anxious all the time. We kind of had to really support him to learn how to deal with that emotions. And he started doing jiu-jitsu and karate, and that was a real form of release for him. And he became a really happy, chilled person. And we kind of opened up to each other, and had a really deep and meaningful conversation about how to regulate your emotions and how to have better clarity and how to feel better. And we're all the same as a family. I think it's really important as a family to be open and honest, because some young people, unfortunately, don't have that with their families.
No, sometimes I'm talking about carers in general, if they're looking after their parents like I've been doing, you've got to be that adult and you have to hold space for the parent as well. Whereas it should be the other way around, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I definitely. And I've heard of a word. I don't know if you've heard of a word of CODA. CODA, it means child of deaf adults. So it means if obviously I'm CODA myself because my parents are deaf, right? My children are CODA because me and their dad are deaf. And lots of coders are forced into situations where they're having to interpret for their parents at hospitals, and it can really affect their mental health and well-being. Like you said, as carers yourself, you know, you're kind of seeing things that you're not supposed to see, and you're supposed to look up to your parent as the carer, but not be the other way around. I just will not allow my children to communicate for me. I will do it myself, or, you know, I'll make sure they book an interpreter. But a lot of deaf people, a lot of deaf adults won't do that with their hearing children. They will use them in situations to be an interpreter that's just not appropriate, really.
Yeah, yeah. And I think this coming into schools is so important.
Yeah. It's really good that you visit schools. I think it's great that you're meeting so many children.
Yeah. And that's where it starts off with. Your children can look up to you as guidance, and if you're guiding them how to emotionally regulate themselves, how to learn those skills, they're good to go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's fantastic.
Let's talk about, now you're a mainstream presenter. Obviously, you've been on This Morning, BBC Morning Live, BSL Zone, you report for BBC News. What inspired you to become a presenter?
Just think I've got that natural kick inside me. I remember when I was just a really young girl, and my mum said to me, "You need to be a television presenter in the future. You will." And I was like, "Yeah, whatever. Of course I will, mum." Yeah, I was too busy partying and, you know, whatever, being a wild child. And I had a dream of running a nightclub at that time, really, because it was all about the partying. But, you know, there's no way I could do that now. I think it was a bit fashionable at the time. Alcohol was really cheap, but not now. God, it's a completely different story now, isn't it? But yeah, that was kind of what I wanted to, you know, when my mum had said that. And then I met my husband when I was 21. We've been together nearly 25 years, married now. We keep going and we keep going. And he said to my mum when he first met me, "I've told Yvonne she's going to be a presenter. She's definitely, one day she'll be a presenter." And here I am now, doing it now. I mean, it's been a lot of hard work. It's been tough to get to where I am today. I remember at the time, before ITV, before This Morning, way before any of that, I was a teacher and an assessor for 20 years. And one day I was driving on the motorway. I was driving home. Sorry, I'd been on a camping weekend with my family, and I got a phone call from a producer from a programme called See Here, which is on the BBC. And it's like a short deaf programme. It's aimed primarily at the deaf community, but they urgently needed a presenter the next day. And they asked me to come. And I was like, me, you want me to come? Oh my God, wow. Anyway, I went. I had no prep, no script, no nothing, just turned up and went. But the team were lovely. My son came with me for work experience, and that's where it started. That was the transition, the start of the transition, and I've never ever looked back since.
And that was your mission. That is your mission on this earth. To you're actually the first deaf TV presenter, which is incredible. You are making that difference in mainstream.
I am, yeah. But also, I think we need to mention Rose Ayling and give her a big thank you. I don't know if you saw, she won Strictly Come Dancing. I think it was 3 years ago. I want to say 3 years ago. It was during lockdown anyway, but she was the first deaf person who uses sign language. So to go on Strictly, and she hears some of the music, but a lot of deaf people will feel the music. But she really, there was one dance that they did where they turned the music off, and it kind of gave the hearing audience the deaf perspective. So for people who would never even think about that, it was giving access to our world, and it made a massive difference.
Yeah, I can see like the media in the next like 10 years is going to be, there's more and more deaf people. And that is one of the questions I wanted to ask you really. If there is somebody who is deaf and wants to do what you are doing, what advice would you give them?
I think the most important thing is that deaf people try different things and have a good relationship with interpreters and build up a good rapport with interpreters, and also make sure that they've got good access to English, especially, linked to the education system now. And where what they're trying now is to use sign language to teach English, which is giving more access to the English language. So before, they were just trying to teach deaf children English by speaking at them, but obviously they don't understand that. So there's a big change on the education system now to be taught primarily in the mother tongue, which for a lot of deaf kids is going to be sign language, and then that will help them to understand English and be able to access other languages. And schools need to start doing that. There's one school in London called Frank Barnes School, and they do that now. And they've started to show evidence, there's research going on, and they've started to show evidence that that's really supported deaf kids to improve their English. So I think it's really important that that's kind of rolled out, and that deaf kids have got genuine access to education, and that will help them with employment in the future.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, definitely. Right. So let's talk about your cooking. Obviously, that's what you do. And on social media, I've seen you post videos about running as well. Tell me what's going on.
Yeah. So with the running, I really wanted to do running, but I've never really had the courage to do it. And then, Gok Kwan, the famous presenter, we met a few times through work, through presenting, and we kind of bumped into each other. He's an amazing person to work with. And he started a running group, and he's like, does anybody want to start this running group? Does anybody want to join in? And they were doing the couch to 5K. He was doing the couch to 5K. So I said, yeah, I'm in, I'll do it. Yeah, whatever. So we set up a WhatsApp group, and we're really supporting each other. And it's really funny because in the group, everyone's hearing, and I'm the only deaf person. That post WhatsApp, everyone else is talking, and I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. So I said, can you add captions? And they're like, how do I do it? So they put it on Instagram to record with the WhatsApp group to record. Sorry, that was me. Can I go back? So a lot of the hearing people are in the group, and they explain what they've achieved in the group, and I don't understand what they've said. So I've asked them to please add subtitles, and they panicked and didn't know how to do it. So I explained if they use Instagram and they talk, it'll kind of live caption what they're saying. And they don't need to put it on Instagram. They can just save it, and because it's got the subtitles on it, they post it now in our WhatsApp group. So it's not going out there. It's just for me, really. And I'm really grateful for them to doing that. It really shows their attitude is so positive. And we started off last year, and we've really supported each other. And I go out running in all kinds of weathers, rain, hail or shine, and I've kept going. I go about 2 or 3 times a week, and I'm really proud to say I'm now on 4K at the moment. Before I was kind of 1K, and I've just built it up. It slowly, I'm not going to stop, but it feels so good. It gives you a real rush to the heart. You can feel your heart really palpitating, and I think that's so important, especially as we was talking about the menopause as well. It's good for your bone structure, and I don't put pressure on myself. I'm not like running a marathon or anything. I'm just really enjoying doing the running. But I realised a lot of deaf women have started running because I've been posting things out on social media. So it has influenced that, and I've been really humbled by that, to be honest.
You're such a positive role model for the deaf community, which is just incredible to see. You're not just saying it, you do this, you're actually doing it. And that's so important. If you want people to listen to you, you have to do it yourself. If you want people to change, you got to change yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. I can film myself signing, I film myself running with no makeup on. This is who I am. I don't wear makeup all the time. Sometimes I look all right. Sometimes I look rough. It's the same as everybody else, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Let's talk about your food, because obviously, like, this is such an important part. This is what you do on BBC Morning Live as well. Actually, I wanted to ask you, what are the healthy dishes to eat? And that's like delicious at the same time, because we struggle. We're easily like chips and burgers, and that's delicious. But the healthy version, what is your healthy version of delicious? Exactly.
I just look at the colours of food.
Yeah.
Honestly, I just look at the colours, and I think it's like it shows you, what you can see what it is you're eating. So the colours and the flavours are the two main things, and that is what makes the food more interesting. It doesn't have to be complicated. It really doesn't have to be complex at all.
Yeah,
just food, colour and flavour.
Yeah, so it's really interesting, because when I see my fridge, there's like a whole lot of food that I don't know what to do with it. What do I do with this?
Right, so one example. What's in your fridge at the moment?
Right, I've got kale, I've got spinach, I've got
Just one. So
just
kale.
One.
Kale.
Let's say kale.
Okay. Kale. That's the first thing that came to your head. So you're obviously going to eat that. So kale, you can bake it.
Oh.
But before, put it in a bowl, chop it all up in a bowl, a little drizzle of olive oil, some Cajun seasoning, or any seasoning that you like, salt and pepper. Mix it all in, massage the kale, get it all really soaked in. Lay it flat on your baking tray, stick it in the oven for maybe 3 or 4 minutes, and that's kale crisps.
Wow. Can you put paprika in there?
Oh, good, whatever you want.
That would be, that's great.
And you could have it with mashed feta cheese, maybe, or really mash it up, or a bit of garlic, or stick whatever you want in there. Oh, I could add all stuff on all day.
I suppose you can make any food really delicious. You just need the seasoning, isn't it? The seasoning has to be kind of in there. Like, without salt and pepper, if you eat kale on its own, it's not gonna taste as good.
Exactly. And you can do it in the air fryer as well, kale. Yeah. So more and more people are using air fryers. I was on BBC Morning Live this morning, and we use that a lot on there.
Yeah. So
it's a good time saver, actually.
Are they the air fryers more healthier than the ovens, or fried? Well, fried definitely.
Yeah, because there's no fat. There's no fat in it. It's not stuck, and nothing. The food isn't sitting in fat, and also it reduces time. So, for example, I made chocolate lava pudding. I used the air fryer, and it took 6 minutes to cook. But in the oven, it would have been 10 minutes, or maybe a little bit more. And you'd be using a lot more energy. So it's better to use the air fryer.
Oh, amazing.
You use more energy in the oven. Yeah. So you use more energy in the oven than the air fryer.
Oh, amazing. I wanted to ask you, people who have IBS and they have all other gut issues, what sort of food can they eat to ease those symptoms?
Well, I think that's nutritionalist advice, really. But one common problem is that they've not got enough gut flora in their system. So, like, that's the good bacteria. They don't have enough of it, and you need to try and make the good bacteria grow. And there are different routes, but one of them is to eat a lot of fermented fruit, like pickled or anything that's fermented. That feeds the bacteria, and it makes a better flora in the gut, and that's how it improves IBS. And also, have you seen the live yogurts? Yeah. You can with the live bacteria in, you can eat those as well. They're really good for gut health. And sourdough bread can be quite a big problem for people with IBS. A lot of people think it's really healthy. But it can be really bad for the gut. It can create a lot of gas.
Yeah, it's gluten as well sometimes. Even if you don't have celiac disease, the gluten is I can't eat gluten that much. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Yeah, some people have an intolerance to gluten, and some are a little bit sensitive to it. So, it's really important to kind of investigate what you can and can't eat, and start to cut things out, and then maybe bring them back in slowly.
Oh, amazing. Okay, so let's get into the rapid fire questions. She's good. Are you excited?
Oh, I'm nervous.
Okay.
Putting me on the spot now.
Okay, it's all right. It's okay. It's fine. Okay, so what is your definition of life, universe, God, if you believe in one?
So I believe in soul, very, very, I have my own, I feel like I have my own guardian angel. I do talk to my guardian angel. I feel like I'm well looked after and protected, and I do believe that. I'm not sure I believe in a God. I don't really think about it. I'm just all very much about the soul and the environment and the feel of the room and the auras. I feel I've got that.
Beautiful. Okay, so what do you think happens when you die?
I think I'll become a Viking.
Yes!
I'll be a warrior. Definitely. I think in the afterlife, I'll be a warrior.
Oh my God, I gotta show you a warrior photo of me in a music video. I was dressed as Katniss Everdeen. I'm gonna show you after. You're gonna love it. Okay, so what's the lesson that took you the longest to learn?
Running. Definitely running.
Love it. Do you believe that people with horrible beginnings end up creating the best futures?
100%. 100%. Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant. I am fully in present moment when?
Right now, here and now.
Beautiful. We're vibing. Fist bumps as well. The world needs more or what?
Empathy.
Yeah.
Yeah, empathy, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's how we learn from each other. And I also think empathy breeds empathy. And we need more of that. We need more understanding of each other.
Beautiful. If there is one message that you could share with somebody who is going through adversity and can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, what would you say to them?
I'd just say keep trying. If you're on this path to your aim and there's a barrier there, try a different path. Use organisations, start from the bottom, work your way up. There's always a way around it. Don't give up, keep trying. There is life out there and you can grab it.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on this podcast. I'm just blown away by your courage, your strength, and you're such a positive role model out there for deaf community. And I think you should be so proud of yourself, the work that you're doing right now.
Oh, thank you. I am. Thank you so much. And it's truly lovely to meet you. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's been a lovely interview. I think we've really, really had a decent podcast. And you remember the sign for podcast?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You remembered.
I'm a little bit slow sometimes. Oh, okay. Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of our award-winning podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. You can follow us on Instagram, Madiha Sosan 1, and YouTube, Madiha Sosan, for more content. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode with your family and friends, and let us know your thoughts on social media. A special thanks to our sponsors, the Resonance Center, for making it possible to use this beautiful space, and Razia's Bonton Salon for my amazing shiny hair and makeup. You can find this and other episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Thank you once again for listening, and I will see you in the next episode.